always kind of loved poetry, right? I mean, I had a friend when I was in like, I don't know, 10th grade-ish age. I mean, I never went to 10th grade, but I was that age. Maybe ninth grade-ish. 7th? I don't know. But I was young. I was like 14 or something. And I had a friend, he liked to write poetry, and sometimes I even stole his poetry and claimed it as partially mine. But I had a boyfriend. My first husband wrote me some poems when we were young that just captured my soul at the time. But I've always kind of loved poetry. So today I was walking around, our places. This is what came to mind. And shit, you can't see it. I need a piece of paper to put behind it. Maybe if I squat down. There we go. Look at that. Squat down, you can see it. It says, so you're a chick that got screwed by a dude with a dick. So now you're into chicks with no dicks that got balls. I think you received the wrong message, y'all. There would be no chicks without those dicks. So, I don't know. I like poetry. And this poetry speaks to me because, to me, it says, we're confused. We're a confused society. People are not real sure about why they feel the way they feel. But anyway, I love poetry and poems. Just wanted to share that one with you because I'm really getting raw and real and honest about my message. Curtis is as I've mentioned a million times before, probably, he's my biggest critic. He's always the one that will bring the most out of me, as in fear, right? Like, what are you afraid of? And he asked me that a couple weeks ago, and he's actually accused me of that many times. I think you're just afraid. One time I was going to do a challenge for, I'll shave my head if you sign up for this challenge. If you'll, believe what I'm trying to say, sign up for this challenge, I'll shave my head. And then I couldn't get anybody to sign up for the challenge. And so he's like, I think you're just afraid. And I was like, no, I shave my head for no reason. Like, if they're not going to sign up, why shave my head? Because it's, we're like trading here. And especially since I already shaved my head before. But for real. And so there's times where he's like, I think you're just afraid. And it's like, what the fuck am I afraid of? And so a couple weeks ago, we kind of got into it, a little debate, argument, whatever the fuck you call it. And we were talking about some stuff. And he's like, oh, I think you're just afraid. If you just balls up, like you say, and not be afraid. I was like, what am I afraid of? And so to me, this is highly confusing sometimes when I'm like, what am I afraid of in the moment? So then I stop. I just chill. I don't get all mad. I'm working on that. I've worked on it greatly the last 2 years. And I mean, I'm like pretty fucking chillax. So, so I sit back and I think about it, right? I just start thinking about, what am I afraid of? And I even asked him. I was like, I would really love you to elaborate on what you meant the other day when we were fighting or arguing about that thing. Like a few days later, I didn't just come back with it and piss him off. I waited a few fucking days, and then I was like, hey, dude, no, for real, could you think about what it is you think I'm afraid of? Because I love you so much. I love you so much, and I've spent so much time with you, and you probably know me better than anybody really does, because you spend enough time around me that you probably know me better than anybody. So what is it you think I'm afraid of? Please do tell me. And he didn't really even tell me. He was like, can we talk about this later? I think maybe I scared or intimidated him. But he has still not, we haven't regrouped, and he hasn't told me that. He's been kind of busy. What he thinks I'm afraid of. But I've really self-evaluated myself, and I think I'm sometimes afraid of me. I'm afraid that I will be so honest and so real and so raw and so legit with you, like the way I've been with Curtis. And I've mentioned some of the ways that I've been so rawly real with him in my times of pain, like the things that have gone on between the two of us when I've been like, you did what? You said what? You what? And so, I mean, there's been times where I've been in so much pain when I find out some information that I just am like, and so I've emotionally reacted before I had the emotional maturity and understanding to react better. I would emotionally react in ways that were not so beautiful. And so, yeah, I think that's what it is that I'm sometimes afraid of myself. I'm afraid I'm going to be so honest with you in the ways I've been honest with him. And at times they've scared the shit out of Curtis that I've been so honest with him, because I'm not really like everybody else, and certainly not like everybody he's ever known. And so it can scare the shit out of you sometimes, the honest realness of people when you live with them, when you have a relationship with them, when you have a life with them. It can cause you to want to retreat a lot because you're like intimidated or scared, or you don't want to be shamed by them, or you don't want to be judged by them, or you don't want to disappoint them. That's a huge one. When you have strong, like fiery personalities in your life, oftentimes you don't want to disappoint those people, so you just hide your stuff, your real, your honesty, your legitness, your bullshit. You hide a lot of stuff, whatever it is, but you kind of hide it. And I know that for real, because my dad was he was a very strong personality, very charismatic and very sweet, but he was very strong and opinionated, and at times a real dick, really, to be totally honest with you. And I've shared some of those stories even, but the realness here is that I think sometimes I'm truly afraid to be as honest as I truly feel, and the way I perceive the world and I see it, the society and my perspective on things. And so I kind of beat around the bush a little bit, or sugarcoat it a little bit, but I think that's it. I think that's what he's talking about, the afraid. But he may not even be able to pinpoint it and put his finger on it and tell me, well, it's this. But I think that's what it is. I'm like, I got to find a delicate way of saying how I think and feel about things, so that people don't get pissed off, or so people don't get their feelings hurt, or so that people don't misunderstand, or so people just aren't like, you think what? You believe what? And so I'm trying to do a way better job at that, and as scary as fuck as it is sometimes, because I mean, when you're honest with people, I've lost a lot of friends over the years for my honesty of my being, of how I feel, what I believe, and the representation that I lay out in my life through my actions. I've lost a shit ton of family, like almost all of them. Like literally almost all of my family is gone. Like totally poof, gone. I mean, they might check in once in a while and ask something, or they might this, that, but for the most part, the only thing that I had between myself and my family before that disconnect was judgment, aggravation, antagonization, questioning, or just nothing. There's just nothing. And once every 6 months or once every couple of years, they're like, hey, how you doing? And that's really what it's been. So I've lost a fuck ton of people throughout my life based on my beliefs and my opinions and my ways of doing shit, because it's not the majority. So I know that I'm different. But I think that's the fear that I carry at times, and hesitate to share my message online, because I'm online for a reason. I'm not online for a popularity contest. I'm not online so you'll love my hair because I never fucking fix it. I'm not online to show off my fashion or my house or my shiny shit. None of that. There's none of that. I'm not online for any of those reasons, but I'm clearly online. I'm consistent. I show up. I'm here. I have a message. And that message is to help free us all. But it can be scary as fuck at times. So I think that's exactly it. I've addressed what I'm afraid of. And what I'm afraid of is scaring the fuck out of you. Or maybe not scaring you. Maybe just you being like, but I'm willing to go with it. I'm willing to risk it. I'm willing to move forward on being me, because I have a message, and I know this message is going to save so many people's fucking lives in the fashion of themselves. They're not going to spend their entire life doing something or doing a whole bunch of some things that are going to totally screw them in the end. And I know this because I see one, like that poem I wrote right there that just came to mind. which is about so many women like myself that get married young or whatever, usually young, and then have a bunch of kids and then do the mom thing and the wife thing and the business partner thing, if that's the route you go or whatever. And then it's like, ugh, this is so challenging at times, or I'm stressed, or I'm overwhelmed, or you have this underlying resentment for everything you're doing practically. And if it's not that, then you get to be 40 years old or whatever, and so many people are getting divorced. They're getting divorced. And I don't know what the guys are doing, a lot of them, but I kind of do. I mean, I kind of pay attention to that, but I'm more focused on the women. Well, actually, not really. It's kind of equal 50-50. I got something in my eye. But I do focus on the women because, one, my mother-in-law is a badass woman and fiery and has all this, but I can see some of these things in her and always have, and we don't really have a relationship anymore. But, well, we don't have any relationship. However, I see the pain that she's had that I've felt a little bit, you know? And then I have my mom, who I have seen her have that pain incredibly. And I felt tons of it. Like, I felt tons of her pain for her because I love her, but I've also felt the ripple effect of her feeling her own pain and how that gets pushed onto somebody else or placed on somebody else or projected onto somebody else, especially our children. And then I see tons of women in the world that are now my age, like 40 or something. Oh God, I gotta turn this heat off. I'm getting hot. Hold on a sec. It's quieter too. I see tons of women in the world, in groups I'm in coaching I do, and general society, friends I have, myself included, because I have a 26-year-old son, and it's been a challenge ever since he became an adult. It's been a challenge to have a relationship. And not because we don't love each other. I'm pretty fucking sure we both do. I'm convinced of it. Because I didn't understand, mostly myself. And so I didn't understand growing up the way we work. I didn't understand society. I didn't understand psychology. I didn't understand the matrix. And now I do. And I say the matrix, you know, it gets all cliche and everybody's throwing that word around all the time. But I didn't understand the program conditioning of the world until later years, especially the last 10 years. I mean, previous to that, I could see and understand a lot of it. But the last 10 years, I've really, really woken up to the programming that goes on that separates us from ourselves and then separates us from those we love, because they themselves then are separated from self, or they find self and they're like, fuck you, you know, that kind of shit. So that is why I'm online. I'm online to share a message and to help other people, because I can't help myself like that. I literally cannot help myself in that regard to share the message. There's days sometimes where I'm like, you know, I'm just good. And I just find myself, you know, and it's like I have this burning desire in me to do that. And partially I know it's because the more I learn and up level for myself, I can create better connections with my people. I can create a better connection with my own son. I can create better connections with my younger children and their people and their children, and going forward, it transcends through all these relationships. So the more I can share and get feedback, or I can share my experience or share my information or share my perspective that has allowed me more time in my life, or allowed me more health in my life, or has allowed me more money in my life, or has allowed, the more I can allow to happen and be abundant in my life, the better my life has gotten. So if I can share these simple ways and these simple beliefs with other people, then I know that other people won't have to suffer in these areas. And I see it so much. There are so many. And it's online. Get on social media for 5 minutes and scroll something, and you'll see where there's tons of women my age that are either divorced and hooking up with other women. They're now, you know, lesbians, or some other title, and I don't follow that, so I don't fucking know. That was the one of my age group. Or you see where parents that are still together or not together or whatever, but parents are complaining about my kids won't let me see them. There's no contact with my kids or my grandkids. My kid won't talk to me. My kid resents me. I raised my kid and gave up so much of my life for my kid. Or I don't want to be around my kid. I raised them or put up with kids in my 20s and I don't want to be around my kid anymore. And it's like, what? Why would you do that then? Why would you put in all those years and time and sacrifice so fucking much not to have the reward of the relationship with those people? It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And to me, it's not natural. So I have wanted different. I wanted better in my mind because I didn't have relationships like that with my parents, and my husband didn't have them with his parents. And I started having the same disconnects with my own oldest son. And so that has really caused me to self-reflect and look at my life and my choices and my beliefs and my ways and my interactions and my, like, how the fuck is Cheryl showing up? And then what does that do? You know, what does it cause on my time and my health and my wealth and my independence and my living and my animals and everything in my life? So that's why I'm here to share this, because I don't believe that all the women that are my age in their 40s or something are now lesbians, or they're like, well, it's the lesser of two evils. It's like, come on, really? We wouldn't even all be here if it weren't for chicks and dicks. You know what I mean? They got to go together and they create all of us. So we got to look at this, because I just know. And I certainly don't believe that we're all supposed to have kids, dedicate half of our fucking lives, especially our young years where we're really energetic and vital and all these things, to raising families just so we can be like, cool, you're raised, see ya, bitch, get out. You know, it's like, what the fuck? That is so stupid. To me, that's like buying a car and paying for a car and doing all the stuff for a car and costing so much money on this fucking car. And then as soon as fucking thing's paid off, you sell it and get a new one. Oh, wait. That's what we all do. Stupid program conditioning, right? I have a car that's like 22 years old. For real. 22 years old. And in this case, I kept this car because we got a big ass family and it's the only vehicle on production that they no longer make that will carry all my people and my dogs. So I have that car, but I learned by having to keep that car, because it's the only one that could carry all my loves, that there's a whole lot more value in your values than there is in new cars, than there is in new women or new guys, than there is in giving up your kids and the relationships you have with them when they're 20 years old or 18 years old or whatever. And you're like, all right, get out there. Or you just start like, what? Come on. Really? No. My kids asked me yesterday, you think all siblings are as close as we are? Or do you think it's unique and special? I'm like, look around, baby. It's unique and special, but it's not available to everybody. We just have to lose the program conditioning of the matrix. So I can help you break the matrix code and see your own coding. Like, see the code of the matrix and break through. Or you can stay swimming in that shit forever. Or find somebody else, but find somebody good. Find somebody that knows what they're talking about. Find somebody that is going to be legit and real and honest with you, because otherwise it's just another cell. It's just another program. It's just more conditioning. And if it has anything to do with making more money, run far away. If they're like, hey, run. I can help you make this much money. Run. You need to make this much money to have a happy life. Run. You got to make more money because... Run. Don't. It's Matrix. So, no more. Peace. Love. See ya.